Alright, hey guys. I know I haven't really uploaded in a couple months, and I'm gonna apologize in advance. I'm kind of high right now, so not the best at talking. But basically, I'm kind of bored of making type beats and stuff. I mean, it's not really that they're type beats, just the style of beat I was making, and I kind of took a break from making beats and stuff. And I'm getting back in it, but not anything I feel like posting right now. So I've kind of been thinking, and a couple people asked me about, doing tutorials and stuff, and I just thought I would give it a try. So that's what we're gonna do. Um, so my most popular beat's the Wii Tennis beat, but that's on my old computer that's broken, so I can't really go through the project file, and I don't feel like recreating it. So I went with the second most popular beat, um, sad, soft, indie, claro type beat, and it's one of my few videos with a dog in the cover. So that might be why it did so well. But all right, so I guess where to start. I mean, we'll go in the order that I write things. Oh, what's this? Where it is? I didn't include it. Okay, so pretty much always start with chords, at least around when I was making this. Um, okay. So I actually think that this was some kind of splice or some kind of MIDI that I found in, some kind of pack or something. I don't think that I wrote this from the beginning, but this is something that at least now I could come up with. So I'll try to explain how you would go about writing something like this. Okay, so here, actually. So right, this is how I write my chords. I don't know how this works in other DAWs. One of the reasons why I like Ableton, you can get rid of all the notes that you don't want. And it becomes powerful because, oh, I'm being dumb. Okay, there we go. So now, just in the left side, I've got only the C major notes. And so when I press fold, all I have are notes in C major. And what that does is it makes it really easy to try out a lot of chords, especially if you're just using a mouse and keyboard, which I was at the time. So this is just a ninth chord, and you can drag stuff up and down. So it's cool. And so basically we just got a ninth chord with the classic. We'll come back to this, but classic, the swing, I don't know what you would call it, but it's common. And then just go up one, so from a C9 to a D9, F9, and then we're just moving basically the melody note down. So it goes from an F9 to this is just an F, but it's not the same. I don't know, it's not the same as going from, that doesn't sound as good. So it's like a chord. I like to think of them as two parts. We got the chord basic chord and then these melody notes that we're playing on top. And it repeats, so we go. So obviously I took a note out there. So I don't know what you call this, but okay, so first of all, I write all of my songs in C major, and then afterwards I move the key based off of where I think the bass is going to sound best. But I noticed that in C major, certain chords that have either an A or a G in them. So here, I'll do this. Making another one of these. Okay. So okay, yeah, it's literally every chord except the B chord. You can use this G sharp, and it usually works where you can still play all the same melody notes that are in C major, but it gives it this like anime, like tension feel. I mean, the anime sound is for certain chords, but definitely usually some sort of sad tension. So like this is from C moving from G to G sharp. Oh. So you can imagine like or I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to come up with a million examples, but you can fuck around with that, and it sounds good. So I mean, you can see that these G notes that we're playing in this first, so we're back to the original melody here, or the chord progression, and you can see over here we've got this F9 and the G's are selected. They're turned off here. So if I got this MIDI from somewhere else, I'm not sure, but I decided to turn off the G because it brings the melody in a different direction. This kind of goes up at the beginning, and then so in the second half I'm gonna have it go down. Explaining stuff like that, it's impossible, but to explain if you don't feel it inherently, but your melody kind of has to have some sort of narrative to it. Like it has, I don't know, there needs to be movement. So, in like a resolution. Oh, this is the wrong. And then I do this G sharp instead of the A, and I bring back this this F that, before it was going down into this F, but now it's going from C up into this F. And so we have this F going up and this A going down to G sharp, which is like technically out of scale, so it gives it a lot of tension. And it just sounds nice. And I mean, that's not how I was probably thinking about it when I did it. You know, the whole point of this folding all the notes off is that you're able to just try out a bunch of shit really fast. And so I probably tried out a lot of stuff and really quickly selected this, whatever. It's just about, you make like, if you make enough beats, you kind of just have an idea of things to try. So all right, so we kind of got past most of the music theory. Not that it's a lot of theory, but just the general process. I mean, after this, it's pretty straightforward because, all right, so we'll delete this. We'll delete this. So, all right, I'll get into now the sound design of this instrument. It's pretty straightforward. It's just you go to Instruments, Operator, Brushed. There's 2 brush bells presets. One sounds like this. The other one sounds like this. I think Melty Cannon uses this sometimes. I don't know. Only difference really is reverb and then the attack and, well, more the decay and sustain of the 2 patches. At least especially back then, I didn't use a lot of reverb. I'm trying to now, but I just prefer the more simple sounds. So I just took the stock brush bells preset. All I did was, if you click over here where the pitch envelope is, I don't know why they hide it here, but here's the glide function. I also don't really understand how glide works with poly. Like, you're able to play up to 10 different notes, but it still glides, even if you're not playing 10 notes. I don't get it, but this is what it sounds like. So this is what it sounds like without it. And with it. Just makes it a little wetter. I wonder. That honestly sounds better. But, I didn't even think to change that. Then, over here, I've got, so, is this, okay, so I have glide on, I'm going to take it off. So, this is what a default operator would look like with this turn off. I add that. It's just no attack, low decay, doesn't matter though because the sustain is all the way. And but what I have here is some attack, a little bit, so it's just soft. A very long decay. And okay, very long decay and very long release. I also have this tone up here. I don't even think to use this ever, so I didn't even realize it was there, honestly. And then I had glide on. And so this alone is pretty spacey. And then over here, I'm not going to explain how operator works. I can link a video that explains it really well. It'll just, I'm not going to do a good job because I'm high, and this video is already going to be long. But basically, the short story is if you have it set up where these are feeding into each other, you can feed in a fixed signal between. So this multiplier, so if this is set at 1, then the frequency of this wave is 85 hertz. You set it at 0.1, now it's 8.5 hertz. In between 0 and 10 hertz is like the LFO range where you can like make wobbly effects. Right, because this is what it sounds like with at 85 hertz. Just sounds terrible. And I have this on fixed instead of I don't know, the default. I'm not going to explain what that means. You can watch a video about it. But it lets you. So okay, yeah. So that's what it sounded at 1, and this is what it sounds like at 0.1. So it's wobbly. It's a vibrato. And so I have it playing at the same time as the bells. And it's kind of fucked up because there's a lot of mistakes in this beat. So the decay here is 4 seconds and release is 2.5. And then, well, oh, okay, here's where the problem is. Because you'll listen without this. You can hear the vibrato cut out early compared to the first instrument. I mean, I can hear it. I can't point at it, so. But I kind of hear it click almost. And it's because the vibrato doesn't have the same release time. So once the notes stop playing, right, because these stop playing pretty early. So the vibrato is cutting out right here while all the notes and the rest of the effects and everything are still extending. So that was a mistake. Alright. So yeah, that's literally all I did. It's the same notes, just with that new patch. Then here, all I did was I took this MIDI file and hit legato, and then put an arpeggiator, and I took the brush bells preset and I just turned off the FM. So just a sine wave with the same attack, decay, release, and tone as the brush bells preset. So alright, then we'll do the 808. This is straightforward. It's just the bottom notes of the chords. C, D, F, F. Right. C, D, F, F, F. And I'm doing the 808s here in just like a normal kick pattern where it's like the 1, and then the 2, and then the 1, and then the 2, and sometimes the 3.5. I'm talking about these secondary, the beats in the measure. And I'll explain it when we go over the drums. So I used to a lot more. Sometimes I still do. Like sometimes I put Um, I do like a melody with the bass. I'm trying to do it more again. I didn't for a long time, but um, it's so easy to just play the bottom notes in your chord. Every once in a while, I'll hear a melody with the bass, or I'll start by playing the notes in the chord, and then I just hear something different, or just I'll change up a note at the end or something. But I don't know. This is pretty easy. I would just say try not to do this all the time, because it's interesting when the bass line doesn't just follow the bottom notes in the chord. All right, next is the melody. So here I just have the glockenspiel preset. It's in the collision synth under mallets. Glockenspiel basic. I don't know if I changed anything. I don't know this synth enough. I don't recognize this preset enough to tell you. But you can see everything. You can pause the video, look at all this. Pretty sure it's exactly the same though. So what's more interesting is the notes that I played. This is super simple. So the easiest way to write melodies, especially this is a song where it starts with a C chord. So it's, whatever mode that is. You should just be playing with whatever scale you're in, the 1, 2, and the 3, and then throw the G, as a 5. If you don't know basic scale theory, look that up. Literally all you need to know is all the notes in C, and then what corresponding number they are, and then what chords you can make with those. So you just play the 1, 2, or 3, and then throw the 5 in for spice. That's always going to sound poppy as fuck. It's really easy. It doesn't work in every single song, obviously, but this is a very good first. I don't know. It's just a very simple thing that usually sounds really nice. Yeah. And I would, in general, when you're writing your melodies, really think about, oh, I'm doing the 1, I'm doing the 2, I'm doing the 3. Really think about those places in the scale, because if you memorize certain patterns and stuff, it'll speed up your melody writing process a lot. And yeah, this is what it sounds like. So yeah, basically I just have this every 2 bars, this repeating. And I think another thing, at least the way I write my melodies, is I kind of just imagine I'm singing, I guess. I don't know, my brain very much thinks of it as singing just without words. And for me, that helps me think about it. So yeah, okay. Those are all the notes, all the instruments that play notes. All we have left is the drums. So, all right. So yeah, snare. I don't know where I got this. Sounds nice though. Just like some kind of 80s drum synth snare. Sounds nice. Kick. You gotta have the young Kiko kick. Fuck! Oh my god, that's annoying. Okay, you have to have the young Kiko kick. Just look it up. This kick I was using a lot. I like it. It's got some bass, and most importantly, it's got that little bit of white noise or whatever, that little click. So keep the bass in here, and then hi-hat. And you can see that I had a shaker and some other sound, but when I started to arrange the song, I didn't put them in. So this shit is really simple, which is like why people like this song so much. So I mean, literally just a fucking 4 on the floor hi-hat. The kick, so I got a little spice in it. So just pretty much every like hip hop trap style kick pattern is this. It's this, the same pattern. So in the first measure, it's this same pattern, and then in the second measure, and it's like a 2-measure thing. Which one was I writing in? What? Oh, right. Okay. So yeah, it's, if you've ever played an instrument or whatever, these are dotted eighth notes. And then in the second measure, you do 2 dotted eighth notes, but they start on the 2. So yeah, that's like a very standard pattern. And then most trap is just some kind of, and it's changing now, but for a while, I mean, 99% of kick patterns were some bastardization of that specific pattern, where you've got the 1, sometimes the half, sometimes the 4, definitely the 2, and then sometimes the 3.5. And just repeating. And that's all this is. I got the 1. I leave out this stuff, bring those back. A pause, that really makes, if you just got a measure where there's just no drums or there's no kick or it's missing something completely and you bring it back in, it makes it slap more. Silence is good. And so I do that twice. I'm only playing the syncopated measures twice in a row, and then not only do I do this half, I like, do 2/16, and then this is a dotted 16th note. So there's 2 ways to think about this: is I'm doing a dotted 16th note between this and this, or just one of the common bastardizations of this pattern is to do like an 8th note leading up to the first note in the next measure. Right. So this is a pretty normal thing to do. This is less normal, but whatever. So and honestly, the snare is playing this last 8th note, so I probably wouldn't put that in. And I think if I was doing this, I mean, let me see how it sounds. I use this kick a lot more now. I don't know. It's too loud when it's playing on its own, but when it's playing with the 808, it sounds better. And then this one doesn't sound, it barely comes out when it's playing with the 808. But I mean, it doesn't really matter that much because it still sounds good. So yeah, we went over the kick pattern. The snare's pretty straightforward. Snare patterns are, so where the kick was, I'll write it out. Invisible notes. So the snare, the prototypical trap snare pattern is this. So all that's going on here is that pattern, except switching it up a little bit. I mean, I do add like my own thing in one part. So like this. Oh, hold on, my headphones came out. There we go. This, so I just do normal for a measure, normal for a measure, normal for a measure. God. My headphone jack is fucked up, which is another reason why I haven't been working that much on beats. Okay, so we got measure, normal measure, normal measure. I leave out this accent, but I keep that in. That usually sounds better than doing this one and then not doing the other one. But sometimes this sounds good too. You have to. It's hard to explain, but you need to compensate for it in some way. I do the 3, and then this is not in the regular formula, but it still sounds good. I mean, when you have anything playing like right before some kind of other beat, it sounds good, or just like playing the last measure of these 4s. And so normal, and then I do boom, boom. So I'm playing one snare, one beat early. And what's the kick doing at that time? Kick's not doing anything. There's no even kick in that bar. And then no accents, snare, and a half. And yeah, I mean, the thing is, you can't only think about things in these patterns. Like, I wasn't just going, I didn't just have a MIDI file that was this, and then I duplicated it, and I just tried every single combination of turning them on and turning them off. Right? This is one of the tools that I use, and so when I'm trying to think of things to do, I'll try out different variations of this, but I'm still trying to listen for what I think's good. And when you make like a lot of beats, you'll just recognize this pattern. Your brain will think of it for you. And so yeah, I don't know. I think this 2 snare there sounds good. So yeah, I mean, that's literally the whole beat. Then all comes down to that point is how I arranged it, which, I mean, this is really simple. There's nothing on the master. I literally didn't mix anything. There's no EQs, compressors. I don't know how to mix at all. All I did was change the levels. But I'm getting off track. Okay, so the arrangement, I mean, literally what I do is, at least at this point, there wasn't a lot of thought put into it. I just pick something to start, usually the chords, but then sometimes I'm like, oh, let's switch it up. I'll play the ARP first, but usually it's just the order that I start writing things. So I have the first instrument, and I pull these clips together while the song's playing. Obviously, I wouldn't have this thing to look at, but I'm trying to recreate how I would play it live. So that sounds good. Then I would say, I want to bring in the kick and the 808. And maybe now I'm thinking like some kind of, I'm gonna bring in the ARP. It's like some kind of bridge scenario. Like we were building up, and now we remove certain things where we're building up in other ways. It just kind of like extends the build up to where the actual chorus is, which is here. Oh, oops. Okay, I must have had a different melody in the beginning and then edited it. It's always hard to say. And don't be afraid to do this. I've been afraid, I avoided doing this for a long time, but I literally just repeat the last 8 bars. Just let it ride. That's why this beat works so well. It's so simple, so it's so, I don't know, it just makes you want to write over it. And then I do this little bridge where it's just the arpeggio. And when you write a lot of songs with like specific formulas over and over again, there's like certain I don't know, just like patterns that start to emerge. So like doing just the ARP with the drums is something that I do a lot. And then you pull it in for the chorus again. And if I was doing this now, I would probably, at this part where it's the outro, I would put on an EQ with automation. Let's try this. Maybe this. And then maybe, where is it? So yeah, that's it. Um, hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully that wasn't unbearable to watch. I want to know if this is helpful at all. If people like these, um, I mean, ideally, because here's the thing: I don't actually want to go through all of my beats and explain exactly how I made all of them and just have it up publicly, especially when I have a pretty specific style. Um, so I'll try to put up videos that I don't really, care about people seeing what I did. But for other stuff, I'm, I think I'm thinking about like selling basically walkthroughs like this. I haven't figured out a price yet, but I don't know. I don't know if that sounds interesting to anybody. I think that there's a lot of stuff. I don't know. I could be teaching people. I don't think what I do is that hard. Um, it's just about having like a process that's fast, putting the time in, and understanding what you're doing. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna make this drag on anymore. That was the second most viewed video on my channel. That's how I made that beat. Um, I got a couple beats that I'm gonna post sometime in the next couple weeks. Um, but yeah, all right.